So give me him first. Full melee Balkenstein, will it work? No, it never works, Trent. Yeah, we know it never works. Alright, here we go. Hey, what is going on, you guys? It's Epic here and welcome back to a new video on the channel. And in this one, I'm very excited to be bringing you guys something you've been asking me for a little while now. It is my updated Chaos 35 version of Deathclaw Clawbringer. This is a build which you have all been pestering me for ever since the update, and I've been hard at work on it, and I'm happy today to show it with you guys and talk about all the changes we've made to the build. Just before we get into the build, if you want the save file for it, you can find it in my Discord in the save file section, link in the description for that. And also, because this is V2 of the Deathclaw build, it means I'm not going to be going over all of the interactions in the build again. I don't want to waste too much time, even though it would be nice to hit that filthy 8-minute mark. But yeah, if you want to know about all the interactions, you can go and watch the original version. I'm not going to spend too much time on it in this video. But there are some changes in the build, so I would like to get into them with you guys. So first of all, here is the skill tree. If you would like to go and copy that into your game, feel free to go and do so. You may notice that the change with this version of Deathclaw is that we now capstone the Stabo tree and we no longer pick ore in the Clawbringer tree. That is because after the change to ore, it just simply isn't worth all of the specking, in my opinion. And also we do not take Storm Smite because the buffs to that skill were basically useless, in my opinion. Also, before I forget, because everybody constantly asks me about it, the hero stats that I am running on this build and the hero stats that I pretty much run on any build are all points into crit damage and crit chance, and then I believe I have points into status damage, but you could run them into skill cooldown if you really wanted to. So I always forget about this, but not today. Now, jumping into the items for this build, I wanted to keep this as farmable as possible for you guys, so for that reason there is only one primordial piece of gear in this build, and it is optional. The rest is all volatile, all pretty easy to obtain. But let's start off first with the star of the show, the live wire. If you want to get this thing, it is a world drop only, so you may have to go to the Chaos Chamber to get it. But again, we always use the live wire because this is what we're holding while we're meleeing enemies. This gives us the big damage that we need for most of the kills that we do. And for my anoint, I have action skill start melee damage. We're basically always going to have this up. It is a very, very nice anoint to have. So if you can get it, go ahead and get your hands on it. Next up, this one I don't really use that much, but it is in the build, so I will talk about it. This is just a ×5 Jacob's Masher with the melee damage pincushion on it. This sometimes helps if we want to get really good hammer kills on bosses. We just spam them with this to make them take more melee damage. Then we chuck the hammer at them. And yeah, you really don't need this. I should have had it in the backpack sitting there and instead had the Pixie in here, which by the way is also a world drop if you want to get your hands on that. And this is what we just use for general mobbing. But yeah, these two guns I just have in the background here, but you really only need to use the live wire, so don't panic too much. Now for the melee weapon in the build, as last time, we have got the Spellblade of the Assassin. I have played around with a lot of different combinations. Since V1, I've tried changing this to Dark Magic. I've tried changing the Hilt mod, but I just don't think it's necessary. So same thing here, Spellblade with Echo is going to be absolutely nutty. This is the only primordial piece of gear in the build because again, I wanted to keep this as farmable as possible. And the only thing that has really changed with our Spellblade here, apart from the gear tier, is the enchant. I've changed the enchant to 30% melee damage against enemies above 70% total HP. I know a lot of people are going to be like, this isn't a good idea, Epic. Why would you run this over something else? But honestly, I really feel like this is the best possible anoint you could be running on this weapon. I have noticed the speed of my kills have jumped up tenfold since using this. So I would definitely recommend you get this enchant for the melee weapon. You'll thank me later. And if you want to get a Spellblade, it drops from Son of a Witch. Now, down into our gear, like last time, we have a mood ring, a world droppable ring, and the main big change that we have done to the rings this time around is, believe it or not, changing them to be melee damage. And you might be asking, why do we want melee damage, Epic? Well, the The reason why is because no matter what I've done, I haven't really been able to get the gun damage on my build feeling great since the Chaos 35 change. It really sucks, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, the change to ore and then upping to Chaos 35 really kind of screwed my gun damage, so instead I decided to change these rings to melee damage, and man, what an increase it made. It absolutely helped me out tenfold. Make sure you get the mood ring with melee damage. The passives aren't too important, but you can see I have melee crit damage and chance. This is going to help you get the nutty one-shots you saw in the intro, but the main thing here is just getting melee damage in that primary slot. It's very, very important, and if you can get it on a mood ring, that's even better. Now, moving into our shield, we once again have the body rune like last time. I don't remember if we changed anything here, but just in case we did, let me just go over what we've got for our enchant. That is action skill active lightning damage 50. I kind of borrowed this from the Clawbringer build, so the basic way this works is that when we throw out our hammer, it's instantly going to proc that enchant, and when it lands, it's going to do 50% more lightning damage to enemies. This is going to help our hammer get even more powerful, so that's why I have the body rune with action skill active lightning damage. Again, if you want a body rune, it drops from the maker. Into our amulet here, we still have the Thurge. I did play around with the new slip and stun item, but I didn't really think it was best for the build personally. You might disagree, and that is absolutely fine if you want to use that instead. I have kept the Thurge not only because I want this to be a DLC-free build, I don't want it to require any DLC items, but I also think the Thurge is just overall the best choice for the build. Again, I have Clawbringer power here with frost damage. Those would be ideal. You could also get lightning damage if you wanted to, and you can see that my passives aren't the best there, but again, that's just not important. You don't have to worry about that. Now, down into my spell, we are once again using the Buffmeister here. I don't know if I changed the enchant, but just in case you're curious, it's spellcast damage dealt 15. You could probably get better enchants on there, but I'm not too fussed about it. Again, it doesn't matter too much. But what does matter is the variant of the Buffmeister you've got. You see on the bottom of the card, it says Zap and Bonk. This means I get more damage to melee and also spell damage, I believe. Those two right there are going to help my hammer throw. They're going to help my spellblade, and that's really good for me. So yeah, that's what I have there, and I would recommend you get that too if you go for this build. And then for the final item in the build, we have the Warped Paradigm, an item which was recommended to me a long time ago, but I was so stuck in my ways of the smart armor at the time that I just refused to take the Warped Paradigm. I was like, no, 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 I am a big simp for the smart armor. I am absolutely not taking the Warped Paradigm. However, there has been a development in that story. The smart armor at the time of recording this video is completely bugged, and anytime you level transition or die, the effect of the armor is lost. For this reason, I've instead opted to go with something more stylish, like the Warped Paradigm. Now, while the combo here isn't all that important, what I will say about this Paradigm is that if you get it, under every single circumstance, make sure you get the version that increases ability damage and spell damage by 50% of your increased melee damage. The reason why this is so incredibly important is because with all of the melee boosts that we get, not only from our skill tree, but our rings too, which I believe also get taken into account with the Paradigm, this means that our spell damage and ability damage get increased. Now, what does this help? Well, first of all, it helps the buff given to our Spellblade, giving us more damage on the melee, and it also boosts the landing of our hammer with its massive AoE. So, very, very, very important there on the Paradigm. If you do want to get a good roll on the Paradigm, if you are looking for a good skill combo, you see I have +3 into Nimble Fingers. I am a big fan of this roll because it gives us more spell damage, which further boosts our Spellblade, which is really, really nice. Although I am almost positive it can also roll 5 into Oath of Thunder. I haven't actually seen that drop, but someone did tell me that was possible. So if you get 5 into Oath of Thunder, that's also a really, really juicy roll. So yeah, feel free to keep your eyes out for that. It's not too important what passives you get or what skills it rolls, although yeah, they do help. Now, to answer the question of how does this build play, the answer is rather simple. In fact, it plays pretty much the same as version 1. The loop is just simply going around, casting your Buffmeister, finding the enemy you want to kill, shooting it to proc the first 2 elements, throwing your hammer at it, calling it back, and then meleeing it to completely finish it off. This is how the build plays in pretty much every single scenario. It's pretty plug and play, and I don't really think you could mess it up. It's really simple to play, actually. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it. I know you enjoyed the last version. I've been working very, very, very hard on this one. It has been challenging because of the stuff they've been doing to Claw. However, I do hope this suffices for now. And just a little side note, because I forgot really quickly, if you do want to get your hands on the Warped Paradigm, it actually drops from Castor in Tangle Drift, which is, funnily enough, where I'm at right now. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for the support on the builds and the channel in general. It really means a lot to me. I can't even begin to tell you. Take it easy, and I'll see you all in the next one. Oh my god. Oh, that was actually really well timed. Here we go. Okay, it's time to bang her out, bruv, innit? You ready? Did we what? Wait, how much did we hit for? Oh my god! 20? We hit for over 25 million. We hit for over 25 million.